Hey everyone, so today is my last day of official freedom, my vacation. I start up back at work tomorrow. So last night I stayed up kind of late to finish Morningstar, which is the third book in the Red Rising series. If you haven't read Red Rising, I highly recommend it. I think initially it was supposed to be a trilogy. I haven't looked too much into it, but I believe there's 5 books to it now. Morningstar, I felt like it totally wrapped up the whole story, so I'm kind of interested to see where it goes from here. So basically, if you're unfamiliar with the Red Rising series, a lot of people have compared it to Hunger Games because it's got the caste system, basically, the class system. In the story, there are different colors, and each color lives in a certain area, and they work on a certain job. And the lowest color is the reds, and they basically live under the surface of Mars, if I'm remembering correctly, because I started the first book quite a while ago. And they basically mine, and their job is one of the hardest jobs because it's scorching hot and they don't have a lot of food, and basically they are scraping by. They're being abused by the higher society. So the higher society is the golds, and there's some other higher colors, and basically the golds reap all the rewards of all the lower colors. So in the story, one of the reds has a moment with his wife, and basically it's kind of against the rules what they were doing, it's a very minor rule that they broke, but because of his wife's ideals, I guess, it becomes a bigger thing than is expected, and ultimately she's killed, and this red decides to try and change the system, is basically what I'm going to say. And a lot of people have compared it to like the Hunger Games, but it's there are some similarities, but there are enough differences and different situations to create a totally different world and story. It is very interesting. A lot of the characters are unlikable, but there are a few real gems that are so enjoyable. But if you read the story, I'll let you enjoy those characters. But yeah, like I was saying, so far I'm really enjoying it. I believe it was a trilogy, but now I think there's 5 books, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. This morning I listened to Herbie on Audible. So like I was saying, Herbie was a memoir biography about Rich Cohen, and basically it reflected on his life with his father and his family and his challenges and his interaction with writing and what he had to go through to become who he is today. And I really liked it. I thought it was very insightful, and I just loved the way that he portrayed his father. His father seemed like a really interesting, amazing man, and a very dedicated father. So I really liked that. Even though he was hard, he and his father had butt heads a few times. Like, you could see the real love in the story, and I just really enjoyed listening to it. It was a very short listen. I think it was like 2 hours. I listened to it in one sitting. It was enjoyable and entertaining. And it was interesting to hear the struggles that he went through becoming a writer, and basically all those hoops you have to jump through, and it's difficult. As someone that always was interested in becoming a novelist or a writer, hearing the other side of it, like how he actually achieved that dream, was interesting to me. Also, I started listening to an anthology series. It's called The Devil in the Deep. And so far I've listened to 2 short stories. And again, they're very interesting. One story was about a murder, and the second story was about, I guess it was about a strange occurrence that, I guess it was about a strange happening that happened. Strange occurrence that occurred, or strange happening that happened. I don't know. I guess obviously my brain isn't on, but the second story was about a man who was exposed to some sort of virus, and the virus came from a strange creature, and it sort of controlled his brain in a way. And discovering the mystery behind that and what happened and his backstory was also really interesting. So I'm 2 stories in there, and I'm sitting out here with my dogs, and I'm about to read this book I found on my shelf. Who knows how long it's been sitting on my shelf. It's called Shadows 93, and actually it's an anthology too. We have 3 authors: Kathleen Corbell, Carla Cassidy, and Lori Herder. So I'm excited to get into that. It was going to be a beach read, but we ended up not going to the beach yesterday, which is fine. We got a lot of work done. We started some more planters here. Hopefully a salad box that will produce for us, and some corn and pumpkins and stuff like that. Might be a little late to plant corn and pumpkins, but we're going to try anyway. Because you never know what's going to happen with pumpkin patches this year. And that's usually where we get our stuff, and we're big Halloween people here. So we're going to try to grow our own. And we planted different varieties. But yeah, so who knows how long I've had this on my shelf. I would go to little book sales and pick up anything that sounds strange and creepy and interesting. And yeah, so I'm actually really proud of myself for picking this up. I probably only got it for like 25 cents or something like that. It's been forever though, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm interested in getting into it. There's 3 different stories in here, and they all kind of take place around the beach too, so perfect summer read. Yeah, so I will let you guys know what I think about these stories and get back to you on here. Later on today, we're going to go work on my classroom and set up more for the start of the school year. This is my last day of freedom, so I hope we get my classroom a little bit more in order. We changed the theme from Pokemon to Harry Potter, and I'm loving it. It's looking really good. I spent way too much money getting it decorated, but yeah, I probably will show you a picture of it or a video of it when I get that done. Anyway, I'll check in with you guys later. Hey everyone, just checking in. I've started Shadows, and specifically I've started the short story Timeless. And basically Timeless is about a woman named Genevieve who is spending time in a beach house, basically, because she's trying to get through a lot of things that are going on in her life. She's got some sort of issue going on with her husband or ex-husband. I'm not quite sure. Either he's abandoned them as a family, or he has died suddenly, which kind of mirrors what happened to her own father. He left them, and then later on he proceeds to die. But she talks about how she didn't really mourn him because he kind of had already left her, and she had already kind of mourned him early on in her life. But that's not the story. So basically, this woman is staying in this beach house, and her daughter is over at her mom's and just spending some time away, trying to get away from all the issues that are going on. And she starts having these nightmares about the Civil War, and she keeps waking up from them because in her nightmare, the love of her life, her husband, has been fatally wounded, and she watches him die. And every night she dreams this, and she's more upset about this man that she supposedly doesn't know in her dreams, and than her own husband, and whatever the issues are between her and her husband. So she's having a really hard time getting to sleep, and one night she happens to see a body on the beach. Now that body, she goes to investigate, and the man looks exactly like the man in her dreams. So that's where we are, and the story is going to proceed from there. I'm really interested to see where this goes. I've got about 100 more pages to read, but so far I'm kind of liking it. I kind of predicted that's what was going to happen, why she was dreaming about this man. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes, because on the back it says Genevieve wasn't sure if, I don't know if his name is Raph or Rafe, I think it's Rafe, if Rafe was a dream come true or a nightmare in disguise. So we're gonna see some interesting things happen. And because I'm extra, I have on my Audible ocean sounds, since this takes place at the beach. So I'm pretending I'm by the ocean at my own beach house while reading about a woman who is in her own beach house. I miss the beach. Hey everyone, just checking in. I finally finished Timeless by Kathleen Corbell, and at first I was like, this is kind of cheesy and a little predictable, but as the story went on, I just got more and more engrossed in it, and I really liked it. I love the generational curses aspect. I love the generational play. I loved the journal entries to talk about the past. I loved the little twists in it. The ending got a little weird, but it was a satisfying ending. And I don't know, just something about it felt very nostalgic for me. Like, it reminded me of something I read in the past that I can't quite remember, but I really enjoyed the story. And overall, I thought it was cute and suspenseful, and it was just a perfect short read for me. So I highly recommend the book. I still have 2 more stories to read, but I have to get ready to go set up my classroom, so I'm going to take a short break on the Shadows novel and go work on my classroom for a little while, and hopefully I have enough time to finish this book before my last day of freedom ends, because I'm really enjoying it and I'm excited to get into the next one. So I'll check in with you guys in a little while. Still need work over here. I'm gonna get closer to my bookshelves. And then the gallery area, which the numbers need to be fixed, but they're not going to use this anyway. Yeah. The classroom so far. You can kind of see it from entering the classroom. Hey everyone, just checking in after a long day of work. This was my first day back in the classroom doing training for this school year. So last night I ended up just doing a lot of work in the classroom, setting it up, and then coming home and listening to my audiobook, The Devil in the Deep. I think I listened to 4 stories last night. really enjoying the set of stories. The next 4 stories that I read about, or I listened to, one though wasn't by the beach, which kind of bothered me because it was more of like the prairie and kind of like post-Civil War, kind of had Western vibes to it for me, but like there was no real ocean theme to it. It was still an interesting story, just didn't know why it's part of this like ocean anthology. There was another really cool story about a young lady clearing out the home of her mother who had just passed away, and she finds out some really crazy things about her parents and her mother, and they find some really strange things on the beach, like these filleted fish, but they're still alive, and there's this awful smell that keeps coming every night, and they can't figure out why. But it was a fantastic story. It was pretty haunting, and I really enjoyed that. And then there was another story there was another story about a whaler, and that wasn't as interesting, but it still kept a little bit of my interest. And then one about a woman whose father went missing at sea, and that story was interesting. But I really liked the woman who was clearing out her mother's home. That one was very haunting. I wish I could remember the title. If I remember the title, I'll go back and put it in the description so that you guys are aware of the stories. Anyway, I'm probably going to sit down and listen to a few more as I sit outside with the dogs and watch them play in the yard. So I'll get back to you guys about more of these stories later. Hey everyone, this is the I think 3rd day in my vlog. I finished The Devil in the Deep last night, which was our anthology book, and overall I gave it a 4, and it could have been like a 4.5, but I really enjoyed all of the ocean stories, or ocean related stories. You had from mermaids to ocean lore to creatures of the sea to just the ocean being calm and then stormy or raging, undertows, currents. There was, I guess, a lot of it felt very nightmarish, which was really cool. So I highly recommend the book. If you haven't read it, it was a fantastic read. It really covers the gamut of different types of horror that you can experience on the sea. So highly recommend it. I still am working on the Silhouette Shadows 93 book. I'm gonna read, I hope, at least one story today, and then hopefully maybe I'll finish it tomorrow if I'm up for it. It's been a really long work day. But yeah, it's been really enjoyable reading these books. I just wish I could have read them by the beach, because it would have made it so much more impactful probably, or like in a beach cabin. That would have been a lot of fun. But they're really great summer reads. So, and yesterday my husband went into Walmart and picked up Midnight Sun for me, so I'm thinking I might do a reaction vlog to that. It's been 13 years in the making, I guess. I think about 13 years for waiting for this story. Maybe more than a decade, but I'm not entirely sure. Time has passed so fast, that is for sure. And I've been waiting for this story forever, and I remember it being I guess scrapped, and I was disappointed because I really wanted to see the other side of the story. Anyway, I'm excited to get to that, and I'm excited to vlog that too. I'll check in with you guys as soon as I finish the Silhouette Shadows 93 book. Hey everyone, sorry if you can hear the cat water fountain in the background. So it's Saturday. I finished my first full week at work setting up my classroom. I'm still setting it up, but I mean, I spent my first official week at work. I also managed to finish Silhouette Shadows 93 last night. I stayed up all night to finish it. First, Thursday night, I went ahead and read The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by Carla Cassidy. Basically, it was about a woman who wanted to get away from her life and ease her mind, but happened to find herself in a challenging, scary, and interesting situation. Let me read you what the back says, because I don't want to give away too much. It says, Darlene Taylor arrived in a secluded inn on the Maine coast for vacation, but something was wrong. From the moment she checked in, everyone she met seemed to watch her intently, knowingly, including handsome Quentin Marshall. Darlene wanted to trust him, but she sensed evil closing in, and Quint could be part of it. Basically gives you the gist, so I didn't want to give away too much. Thought it was fantastic, a little bit predictable, but overall really enjoyable, almost a guilty pleasure for me. I really liked it. It also enhanced my listening experience or my reading experience when I was listening to Audible. I was listening to the ocean wave like soundscapes, and since this was set by the ocean, it was just perfect. Then Friday night, I finished Phantom of the Chicago by Lori Herder. This one has a description as well. Far below the Chicago streets, living in a dark abandoned tunnel, the Phantom of the Night knew it was time to seek out the woman he loved and spirit her down to his world. Only then could he protect Crystal Winthrop from the dangers that lurked above, and only then would she be his. And it's kind of like a Phantom of the Opera retelling. It was very much a kind of fluff piece, but it was really, really good as well. Like, it was like definitely a guilty pleasure, predictable, but fun. So, like I was saying, it was predictable, but it was fun. Like, I haven't stopped thinking about it. I was like, initially, it was like a little bit cringy because it's definitely got a setup of like kind of a toxic relationship, but I don't know, it still was enjoyable for me. But that was just like, I feel like I still need to say more about that, but I got to get going to the classroom. But like I was saying, it was strange because the leading man was interesting, but he sort of set up this romance in a toxic sort of way, which I was like not having initially, but the rest of the story was really good and I couldn't help but like it. But it, like I said, definitely a toxic relationship in there. Overall, I had a really great reading week. Even though I was starting back at work. And I want you to stay tuned because I have a few more books to read. I'm going to be reading Midnight Sun here pretty soon. I think I'm going to vlog my reactions to that one. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.